As NATO gets ever more mired in Ukraine, its Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg sounds ever more transparently dishonest in his self-serving rationalizations. In a recent interview, he boasted, yet again, that thanks to NATO support, Ukraine's armed forces are much bigger, much stronger, much better equipped now than they were in 2014. Stoltenberg then asserted that NATO allies are, quote, ready to support Ukraine because they realize that if Putin wins, it will make NATO allies more vulnerable and the world more dangerous. Such declarations invariably come accompanied by the assertion that NATO is not a party to the conflict in Ukraine. It's hard to make head or tail of what Stoltenberg is saying. Why would NATO allies be more vulnerable if, as he puts it, Putin wins in Ukraine? Why would the world be more dangerous? Let's recall, Ukraine is a member neither of NATO nor of the EU. No one has ever promised Ukraine unconditional support or asserted that the location of the Russia-Ukraine border. Why would the world be more dangerous? Is Stoltenberg suggesting that because NATO has gone all in to fight Russia in Ukraine, a defeat for NATO would mean humiliation and likely dissolution? Or is he suggesting that once Russia has conquered Ukraine, it wouldn't stop there but would march on to the English Channel? If it's the first, then a military alliance that was stupid enough to get in over its head in a war in Russia's backyard doesn't deserve saving. And if it's the second, then a military alliance that's incapable of stopping an army much smaller in size is again not worth saving. But perhaps Stoltenberg realizes that NATO's problem is its tattered reputation. How else to explain his bizarre claim made in that same interview that, quote, we need to continue to strengthen NATO's collective deterrence to ensure that the conflict in Ukraine doesn't escalate to a full-fledged war between NATO and Russia? It's very hard to wrap one's head around that. We are told that NATO is pouring in weaponry into Ukraine in order to defeat Russia. But then Stoltenberg tells us that NATO's goal is to avoid a full-fledged war between NATO and Russia. So NATO intends to defeat Russia and at the same time avoid a war with Russia. And Russia will apparently sit still for this. Unlikely. NATO is playing a dangerous game. Thanks to Stoltenberg's deception, the Western public has little realization of the very real prospect of all-out war toward which NATO's policy is heading.